Has the BCCI delayed the IPL postponement decision? Is it advantage New Zealand in the WTC final? And what about India's squad to England? All this and much more in this episode of our podcast. Hi, hello, and welcome to our latest episode of House Tag, Flash Crick's voice into the world of cricket. You are with Sridhar Bhamidi. And before we get into the thick of things, let me introduce our special guest. He is so popular by his Twitter handle that people associate him directly with cricket. His handle has crazy in it, but his followers say that you have to be crazy not to follow him. So much so that they revel in him having a legion of staunch followers. It is my privilege to welcome Benny Johns to our show, or should I say, Crick Crazy Johns. Johns, it's a pleasure having you today with me.
First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me to the podcast. It's a pleasure to talk on cricket. I really hope everyone grows in Twitter because it's a huge platform. We can talk with cricketers. They will interact with you. If you use on a right way, it can give you lots of happiness as a cricket fan. It helps to interact fans and cricketers. Twitter has produced that kind of different magic in last few years.
We at Flash Crick as an organization, we have followed your Twitter growth closely for the past 3.5 to 4 years. And we are always appreciative of what you have done and are continuously doing. What we are also appreciative of was the decision to postpone IPL 2021. I mean, it is always tough to see a cricket tournament being thrown out of the window, but there were human lives at risk. So it brings me to the point of the entire discussion. Were BCCI late in postponing the tournament? Do you think they should have taken this decision probably a week earlier than what they have done?
I don't think they were late because if COVID cases was only in one or two teams, which was the case with KKR only, with Varun Chakravarti and Sandeep Warrior got affected. We don't need to postpone or cancel a league, but it happened with clusters like a few COVID cases where in SRH, Amit Mishra got COVID in Delhi Capitals, then Mike Hussey and Balaji got COVID positive in CSK. So it came as a cluster and they're cancelled. But if you look at only one team was affected, I still believe IPL would have gone and they have conducted very on a right path as well. The main issue was that they were exposed to the public, like they played in different grounds or different venues. They should have ideally they should have played in one or two venues. It was my thought because main reason was if you look at ISL, Indian Super League was conducted only at Goa. So BCCA should have taken that call. Even though they even Ganguly or senior journalists has massively criticized or accepted these mistakes. They should have conducted only in few venues. So that was the one of the big mistakes mistake which BCCA made. If you look at first Chepauk and Mumbai leg went very well. The issue came once they finished those legs and when they moved to other grounds, like they moved to Motera Stadium and they moved to Delhi, and
Correct.
that was the issue that came in IPL.
I resonate with your thoughts, Johns. I personally felt that they shouldn't have been moving from one place to another. And somewhere I also felt that the SOPs were not in place properly or they were not executed well. If you see in UAE, the SOPs were very stringent. They wanted anyone moving out of the bubble or anyone coming into the bubble, they had very stringent rules. And if you see here, I personally always felt that, you know, the way they were executing the SOPs, the way they have not followed them to the T, it's all destined to be a big miss. You know, we still had a good amount of action in IPL 2021 to discuss which of the teams had a very good season. I'm pretty sure CSK will come to your mind first because you're a strong supporter, but let's take CSK out of the equation.
I think apart from CSK, the most impressive team was RCB. If you look at RCB, it was almost a team effort. There were match winners from Padikkal played one knock, AB de Villiers played 2 or 3 knocks, if I'm right. Maxwell played few knocks. Harsher Patel was there. Kyle Jameson produced few match winning knocks. It was almost a cluster from RCB, which RCB didn't had before 2020 season. So I was really impressed from RCB and the roles given to them, like De Villiers as a finisher, Glenn Maxwell as a smasher in middle overs, Kohli in power plays, then Kyle Jameson bowling the middle overs, then Harshal Patel, then Siraj in death overs and new ball. So after CSK, it was RCB.
Interesting. I mean, I've always been an RCB fan, but like I took you out of your CSK comfort zone. If I move out of my RCB zone, I was impressed with the Delhi Capitals to be very frank, because honestly, before the tournament started, I had my doubts whether Rishabh Pant will be able to manage the group. As an individual player, he has probably grown by leaps and bounds, and he's a rock star in his own way. But as a captain, will he be able to command this whole bunch? There are a lot of ifs and buts moving around Delhi Capitals, but the manner in which Rishabh Pant was able to, gel the entire team and get them to perform. I know people attribute it to certain group of individuals, like their openers were really good. Then they had Avesh Khan, who was a surprise entrant into the purple cap race. But still, I felt that Rishabh Pant has done something really good. He was able to gel this team well. He was able to get into Shreyas Iyer's role almost seamlessly. Taking this discussion a little forward, I would love to hear who will be your top four uncapped picks from IPL 2021.
First one will be Avesh Khan, then Chetan Sakriya from Rajasthan. Everyone will be picking him. The way he handled different phases. There are few others who perform in different phases, but it's hard to pick within 7 games as well.
Right. Those two are part of my four as well. And probably I'll also pick Ruturaj Gaikwad, because I was impressed with how he came back from a very dark spot. I know CSK management will always back the players even if they have a string of low scores. But the way Ruturaj has come out of it and the way he has expressed himself very confidently, and I'm very impressed with his technique. He loves coming down the wicket, he loves using his wrists, and he's pretty good both sides of the wicket. Then, last but not the least, I was really impressed with Padikkal. After the first season, the analysts will be behind you. They will start looking at the chinks in your armor. So Padikkal, I thought, was starting to feel himself in this big league. All these four won't be uncapped for long, isn't it?
Yes, mostly with Sri Lanka tour coming, big boys will be in England as well. So we might see likes of Padikkal, maybe Chetan Sakriya as a surprise pick.
Very interesting. Do you think New Zealand have now better chances than India in the WTC final just because they're already playing against England even before India are landing there?
It will play a part. I am not saying it will give New Zealand an added a high advantage, etc. The bigger problem, the bowlers who can swing, and that will be the issue for India. They haven't taken Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. It is a slight concern for India. I think the conditions will be playing a big part as well. We don't know. Traditionally, Southampton has been a spin favorable pitch, but they are playing in the early month of England summer as well. So it's difficult to tell which team has a advantage right now. It all depends on how they adapt to the conditions.
Ruling this Indian team out of contention is not a choice. Something has changed in the Indian sides over the past 5, 6 years. It could be Virat Kohli's captaincy, probably the way he helps them express themselves at their best. I do not know, but what I've seen in the last 4, 5 years is that the Indian teams can never be ruled out of contention. I am looking at the Indian openers as such in the series, how they are going to keep the New Zealand bowlers at bay before getting Cheteshwar Pujara, the Virat Kohlis, and the Indian middle order in the middle. So if probably Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill are going to continue, if these two can hold their own for the first 20 hours, 25 hours, then probably India will have a better chance. If not, if the likes of Pujara and Kohli come in early, then there will be a slight trouble. But like I said earlier, never rule out this Indian team because this has got some crazy guys, some crazy attitude guys who are ready to take on any team in any conditions.
First of all, coming to the culture, it started uh, by 2015-16. The way India A team has been touring to different parts. They went to Australia, they went to South Africa, they went to New Zealand a couple of times, and that helped the gap between domestic cricket and international cricket, along with playing IPL as well. But still, the India A system was working so well under
Right.
Rahul Dravid and then
Indira Nagar ka Gunda.
yes, that has been the game changer. One of the game changer. I'm not crediting everything to the India A system. The way Virat Kohli as a captain has given the freedom, given the license to perform, and the fitness regime. Everything came together in last 2-3 years, and that has been the success.
Absolutely. I think the best part is most of the people who are doing really good right now have gone through his tutelage in the A side. Moving slightly out of this and looking at the squad to England, I know you have said earlier that you would have loved to see Bhuvneshwar Kumar in the side. So, will he be the one player you would have taken to England outside the squad that has already been announced?
Most probably, I don't see any other deserves a place.
One addition I would have loved to see there is maybe a wrist spinner, because I know this has been brought up on various platforms as to why Kuldeep Yadav was not there, why they couldn't have taken him. I felt there is a place for a wrist spinner in this side. I know it's tough on someone like Washington Sundar or Akshat Patel to miss out, but probably I would have taken a wrist spinner in place of one of those two. Maybe why not a greenfield choice like Rahul Chahar? That's a really interesting discussion, John. So let me take you to our fan corner. We have asked your fans, your followers, and everyone to send in some of their questions to us to ask you. I would like to ask you three of those. First question comes in from Harish, who says, what is your dream career, Johns, and how do you see your future in any field related to cricket?
As if now I'm not looking cricket as a career, mainly as a passion only. I have few exams coming up in engineering, so I'll be moving forward to that. Cricket is just a passion because it's a tough area to survive. You need to have extra bite on some way or another, like speaking or writing, etc. So I don't have that kind of stuff, etc. So as a future, I'll be moving towards engineering field only.
That's interesting. So, and will it be changing as engineer crazy Johns? We'll have to wait and see. Moving on to the next question, Monish wants to know, who do you think should take over from your favorite MSD as CSK's captain in the future?
Everyone knows who it will be. It will be Kane Williamson from Sunrisers. But after this season, it will be slightly difficult. And I would like to see Dhoni one more season in 2022, which will be happening as well. I don't see Dhoni retiring after this season, even if it happens. So he will be playing one more season and looking at his replacement. There are few like Shimron Hetmeyer. Then there is Ishan Kishan. We don't know who they are going to retain. So there are few names, but it's too early to tell because Dhoni will be playing the next season as well. I don't see Dhoni retiring very soon. One more season and settling a unit because mega auction coming in. So it's important to have Dhoni one more season for CSK.
Thankfully, the Sunrisers Hyderabad have retained your first choice there. They are probably going to keep Kane Williamson. Moving on to the next question, and Wanderer wants to know, when are you joining an IPL franchisee as an analyst?
I have told earlier as well, I don't have this kind of talents, or even I haven't used any tool in analytics, etc. There are lots of guys who use these things, who create videos. Even recently, one Flighted Leggy, I don't know exact name, the way he used those tools and he got replaced from Rashid Khan, etc. So there are talents better than me. Even there are lots of hundreds or thousands of talents who deserves to get into IPL franchise. And I really like non-cricketers to come into the field more, because IPL needs to have that push to survive more for 100 years, like yeah, EPL or La Liga or something. You need to have that extra thing. So I still believe non-cricketers can give that extra bite or extra flavor into the system. So I hope many people will be getting opportunity in the near future.
Johns, it's a great pleasure talking to you. You are as humble as you sound on Twitter, and we are really impressed with what you've been doing and how you've been keeping people engaged with all the news that you post and your views as well. It'll be a great loss if you move out of cricket to engineering, but still, it's a personal choice, and probably we will want the Einstein in you to come out of engineering, and then who knows, you could probably be analyzing MSD at CSK.
Thanks a lot for inviting me. It has been a pleasure to talk with you.
Right. So that's it, friends. We had Crick Crazy Johns with us today, and it was an exciting discussion with him. Hope you all enjoyed it. We'll come back with another show of House Stat. Please keep following Flash Crick and do give Crick Crazy Johns a hi on Twitter.